All right, welcome everybody. Today is going to be the recap for the week ending on December 18th, 2020. We'll go over our stats here for the chat room, the live chat room. We'll talk about my CB trading, and then the lesson is when do you put on an in the money, when do you put on an at the money, and when do you put an out of the money on, because based on market conditions, you don't want to use the same type of order on all market conditions. All right, and we're going to go over that in just a minute here. Okay, so but let's look at the PAP stats for the week. Once again, consistent across the board with our first trade of the day. Once again, first trade of the day is the naked setup, which means I'm not using any kind of filtration, folks. I'm just at 8 a.m., whatever the first trade is that I have in the Aussie, the Euro, the Pound, or the US Yen, whatever the first PAP setup, that is a pattern called PAP, whatever that first trade is, all right, is what I'm showing you here, whether it would have been a win or a loss, all right? And even in the pair that is the worst pair, which, as far as I'm concerned, Pound US, don't like to trade a lot of Pound US. I don't trade a lot of Pound US. Don't recommend, and I don't recommend to my students to trade the Pound US, but I do include that here as well. All right. So if it happens to be in the Pound US, I will take that. All right. So first trade of the day, 80% across the board for the evening and for the morning. Remember, once again, 8 a.m. for me is I'm Central Time. So in the evenings, it's 7 a.m. I'm sorry, it's 7 p.m. for me. So that whatever that first trade is after 7 p.m. in the evenings, I'm keeping track of that as well. And once again, these are all identified in the live chat room. So when you're in the live chat room and or even on the trial, whatever that first setup is, that's what we're taking. So it's pretty easy to identify. And all these stats, by the way, are indicated in the chat room. So whether a particular setup was a win or a loss with naked stats, that is plotted on the charts. So everything here that you see can be verified by anybody that comes into the chat room. And if you've been watching my videos for the last couple of years, I don't think anything has been as consistent, all right, as these naked stats. Now, once again, we can improve on that, but right out of the gate, these patterns give you a tremendous advantage over any other method because you're coming out, look at 74%, 76%, 60, a little low for the Euro, but 78% in the evening. Not a big fan of the Pound, but you're still over 60%. And then, of course, my favorite, which I've been talking about now for months, is the Yen. Look at that, 76%, folks. In the morning, 82%. At night, that is just, I mean, that's crazy strong, all right? I mean, that is something that is unheard of in this business. If you've been a trader for a while, that is absolutely amazing. So those are very, very strong probabilities that will help get you in the right direction. Now, once again, high probabilities doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a profitable trader, and low probabilities doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a losing trader. All right. You've heard me say this before. Best day I've ever had. I was right 47%. All right. It's how you manage size and how you select your trades. All right. And that's real important. All right. So that's what the stats are this week. I expect it to be. Now we're coming into Christmas week, right? So we're going to see some pretty heavy volatility, even going into Wednesday and and Thursday too. We should see some really, really good days coming up here. So this is definitely a time to be trading. All right. Now, of course, we'll be closed Thursday, be closed Friday, but and we start trading on Sunday. So, man, I'm looking for a really strong week this week. CB trades, once again, these are my specific CB trades. What you see here is just based on whenever I'm trading. Now, remember, okay, everybody's going to have different results. CB trades are different because a lot of these CB trades are going to be deep out of the money. Some are going to be at the money or in the money. All right. So it varies. And it also varies on you as a trader. I have people that do better than I do, and I have people that don't do as well as I do. because there's so many different setups and there's so many opportunities with CB that it's really up to the individual how aggressive you want to be. If you want to trade every 5 minutes, you can do that. I don't do that. I usually go for the stronger moves, so I don't get as many setups, all right? So it just depends on what kind of trader you want to be. But remember, this is CB. CB setups are more subjective, but it is typically when most people learn CB, they typically stick with CB because it does give you that added benefit of going deep out of the money. But don't think trading in the money or at the money is a losing proposition, because it is not, all right? If you go back and you look at what I did over 500 days in the chat room, you will see that you can do very well trading the 5 core patterns that come with the core package, all right? CB is something that's more advanced, and you cannot get CB unless you first purchase the core package. So you can't even upgrade until you've shown that you can become proficient with PAP, all right? So we're here to make people profitable traders. We're not here just to sell systems, all right? We're here to make sure that you become profitable. And a lot of people like to just buy systems. They put it on the shelf. And we're not going to allow you to do that with CB, all right? It's just too powerful. So you get core, you become profitable. And then when you're ready, we'll see if you're proficient. And then we can move on to getting you in the CB method. Because once you're at CB, you're at a whole new level. And it's typically what most people stick at. Okay, so I want to talk about in the money, out of the money, at the money. Let me change this right here. This should actually be, that should be an at the money. All right, so there we go. So let's talk about this. All right, so in most cases, and the assumption here is everybody knows what I'm talking about. In the money, at the money, out of the money. If you don't, you may want to go and do a little bit of research on options, what it means by in, at, and out of the money. And also, I assume that you're familiar with Nadex. If you're not, it's something we can talk about. But Nadex is really quite simple in concept. All right. So first of all, we're going to talk about in the money. So in most cases, when you're trading in the money, and remember, premium is always going to be based off of probabilities and whether a particular strike that is going to be in or out of the money, right? But in most cases, if you're trading in the money, you're usually going to be trading it for $30 and risking 70, or you could be even trading at $40, risking 60. But let's just say on average, your total profit potential is going to be less than your maximum risk. All right. Once again, this doesn't mean you can't make money, right? You can make money with this because if you know how to adjust contract size, it's a big part of the game when you're trading in the money. So let's look at that. So this assumption right here is assuming with in the money or at the money or out of the money. It really doesn't matter. Actually, that should be out of the money. Let's change that back. I did have it right the first time. Out of the money. Okay. Because in the money and at the money is going to be a little bit different. But typically what I'm usually doing an in the money and at the money, pretty similar for me. Usually they're real close. It's the out of the money that makes the big difference here. But okay, so assuming you're trading one contract in the money, you're risking $30 to make 70. So your maximum gain, assuming you're carrying it to expiration. Now remember, these 5-minute binaries, right? They expire every 30 minutes. So if you're selling something for 30 and risking 70 and it expires in your favor, you make $30, right? If it goes against you, you lose $70, all right? Where when you're trading out of the money, deep out of the money, you're going to get better premium. So when you're trading out of money and you're selling it for $80, you're only risking $20. And if you carry it to expiration, all right, you're going to make $80, right? Okay, so what is the advantage of trading deep out of the money? Well, there's a lot of advantages. Now, once again, it's very important. You cannot, and I repeat, you cannot put out of the money trades on every single time you trade. It will not work. All right. The only way you're going to make money with out of the money options is you have to have a method that gives you an indication that you are going to have a big price spike. All right. That's what my CB is all about. CB is all about given and identifying those opportunities when we are going to get a big price spike, and that's when I'm going to go out of the money. If you don't have a method or a technique that will indicate ahead of time that a particular pair is going to have a big price spike, you don't need to be trading out of the money, folks. You will lose money. You need to stick to in the money. All right. So that being said, all right, if you're trading out of the money and you're going to carry it to expiration, you're taking on less risk, right? $50 less of risk, and you're making $80. But here's where it gets really, really interesting, all right? And this is what I want to talk about. When you're trading in the money, okay, you must go to expiration. If you've been watching my first trade of the day, you've heard me say this before, okay? You have to get maximum profit on that. The only way you're going to get $30 is you have to let it expire when you're trading it in the money, all right? If you're trading an out of the money, and this is where it gets really interesting, you do not have to carry it all the way to expiration, assuming you want to just make $30, okay? And you can take on less risk and put on more contracts. So let's look at that. Here is an out of the money, all right? I'm putting on 3 contracts. I'm still selling it for $80, right? I'm still making, or that is what I'm paying. I'm selling it for $80, right? And I'm risking 20, but I can put on 3 contracts. So what is my maximum risk on 3 contracts? $60. So I'm actually risking less than I am in the money, because here you're risking $70. But if I want to make $30, all that has to do is go from 80 to 70, all right? And I'm making the same amount of money here, but with less risk. I hope y'all see that, all right? But typically, I'm not going to go just for $30. I want to go for a lot more. And most of the time, when you're trading out of the money, you are not staying to expiration. Now, there are going to be opportunities when the spike is going to be so large that you do carry it to expiration. But in most cases, you do not need to carry it to expiration, okay? So if I wanted to make, say, $60, I don't have to wait for, all I have to do is wait for it to get down to, say, $60. So I'm selling it at 80. It gets down to $60, right? You're making your $60. You're still only risking 60 to make 60, and you're not having to carry it to expiration. I hope this is clear, and I hope this makes sense. So the advantage of trading deep out of the money, all right, is you're going to be risking less. But the most important thing is you can put more contracts on and not increase your risk, okay, compared to trading in the money. So you can keep the same amount of risk going deep out of the money as you would in the money, and you have the potential to make a lot more than you would in the money, all right? So that's the beauty of out of the money, and that is my preference, and that is why we can have higher returns, because we can put on more contracts, all right? So that is real important. So once again, let's get back. Whatever your method is, whatever you trade, in the monies, got to stay to expiration, okay? Same with at the monies, but if you're trading deep out of the money, then you don't want to carry it to expiration. You don't need to. Most of the time, you will be getting out early. You will not be carrying it to expiration. So big difference. In the money, let it expire. Out of the money, you're going to scalp it, right? You're going to get out early. That is the way that you trade out of the monies. And there is more on terms of how to get out and the way that the markets move in they move in certain waves and stuff like that. And that's way beyond what I want to get into here. But that's things that I teach in the CB class. So that being said, that will help you if you guys are out there and you're trading binaries, and doesn't matter whatever method you're using, if it's been profitable for you, and you can trade in the monies, you're going to do much better by carrying it till expiration than trying to get out early. That is a losing proposition when you're trading in the monies. Out of the monies, a lot more flexibility and a lot less risk. Okay, so that's going to be the recap for this week. I wish everybody to have a great trading week coming up. I know it's going to be awesome for everybody in the chat room and those in the trial. So you definitely want to take advantage of this upcoming volatility. And I also want to wish everybody a happy and safe holiday coming up here for Christmas. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Go to my website, binaryprostrategies.com, and I will be glad to answer any of your questions. But it's a good time to get in. I am going to be making some price adjustments going into 2021. I don't know what they are. Don't ask me what they are. I don't know. I may have a special coming up here for Christmas, but it's probably going to be for existing customers that I haven't fully decided. So once again, I'm gonna have something come up here for Christmas. All right. So that being said, good time to get in. Good time to start trading. And any questions, let me know. Please also, like my videos, put a thumbs up, please subscribe. And it helps me get more exposure, because with more exposure, I can put out a lot more free information. All right. That's just the way it works. Anyway, I appreciate it. Everybody have a great trading week. And then we will do the next recap the following weekend. All right. Y'all take care.